Howdy folks, and I hope you're all happy and healthy out there in collecting land and have no need for either the red or the blue pill. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today it's the turn of Toysworks' unlicensed take on Morpheus, aka Laurence Fishburne, from the genre-defining Matrix trilogy. And I say Matrix trilogy advisedly because this figure sort of combines elements from multiple movies, but we will get into that later. So, usual format folks, box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. But before we dive in, I'd like to send the usual shout out to everyone who supported Go Figure, and please drop a like on this review as it helps other people find the channel. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the 1/6 scale shenanigans we've got coming up on the channel. So, a quick roundup of my relationship with the Matrix. Absolutely loved the first movie, 5 stars. Really enjoyed the second movie, 4 stars. Liked some of the third movie, 3 stars. And the less said about the reboot sequel, or whatever the hell 4 was, the better in my opinion. But enough of my Matrix ramblings, onto this box. Now, I don't have a vast amount of Toysworks figures in the collection. In fact, I only have the one, this one. So I can't say whether this is sort of standard issue packaging for a Toysworks box, but we'll have a quick look around it. We'll stop it from spinning. On the front it says Spiritual Leader. Obviously this is an unlicensed figure, so they couldn't use Morpheus's name. It says 1/6 scale collectible action figure across there. There's the Toysworks logo in the bottom, and that's pretty much it for the lettering. What you do have is sort of a replication, a sort of an attempt at replicating that Matrix sort of falling code that we see, that sort of we all recognise now and associate with the Matrix. It's been done in purple though, and it's more like streaks than actual code itself. But yeah, in the background there you've got this, and I hope the light's catching this, you've got this sort of foil highlighted shadow effect bust shot of Morpheus himself with the glasses on there, if the camera can pick that up. But yeah, relatively simple. On the sides it's just a continuation of that purple pattern, and it's more code-like on this side. You can actually see the code running down the sides here, in one of my favourite colours, as regulars to the channel will probably already know. Around this side, same thing again, it's just got a more of a blue hue to it. Bottom of the box just says Spiritual Leader, 1/6 scale figure. Same thing on the top as well. Around the back you've just got that sort of purple effect again, the Toysworks logo, and the usual warnings in the middle there. Don't piss this figure off or you may never escape the prison of your own mind. It's a sort of decent quality card, not the best I've ever come across, in a shoebox design with clam trays on the inside. Not a new figure to me, this one. Had this one about a year and a half, and I think it was originally released about 4 years ago. But we'll do what we always do. We will dive down onto the table and have a look at all the accessories that come with your Morpheus figure. Okay folks, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Morpheus figure. We will start with the hands as we always do, you know, me and my hand thing. There are 3 pairs of hands in total. There's a pair already on the figure, which we'll take a look at when we bring the figure out. Let's grab a couple at random and see what we're looking at here. You've got fisted hands, you've got open palm hands, gripping hands. There's a gripping hand already on the figure. You've got these sort of pointing finger hands, but let's take a look at the quality. Now the sculpt overall is not bad. It's not the best in the world, it's not Hot Toys quality, but it looks pretty good, although there are some sort of there's some lumps going on here where the seams join, and there are some visible seam lines, but the sculpt is okay. You've got bone work in there, you've got vein work in there, the knuckles are nicely highlighted, and there's an attempt at fingernails, and there's some creasing in the palms. Yes, you can see that this has been done to a budget, but they're not bad. I've seen a lot worse. Let's do the flexibility test. Yeah, you've got a soft to medium here, so hopefully no requirement for a hairdryer or hot water with this one when gripping the accessories, but yeah, not bad at all. And as I say, you've got gripping hands, fisted hands. Let's take a quick look at a fisted hand. Yeah, pretty much the same quality here. Not bad with the vein work there and the bone structure, and the paint applications are pretty good as well. So yeah, as I say, not the best hands in the world, but not the worst, so we'll pop those to one side. What else do you get? Let's take a look at the weaponry. Comes complete with 2 MP5s. They're both identical, so we'll just take a look at one of them. And Yeah, the sculpt here is pretty good. I quite like the paint applications on here as well. It looks like the handle section here has just been left in the original plastic colour, the black plastic colour, but you've got a couple of different shades of metallic grey. One on the magazine itself, and then one on the body of the gun, which gives it that contrast, which is nice to see. So yeah, the sculpt is pretty good. There's a cocking action here on the barrel itself, which is nice to see. No moving trigger or anything like that. The magazine is removable, pops out, and you do have sculpted and painted in bullets there, which is always nice to see. So yeah, pretty much a decent looking MP5 overall, and as I say, you get two of those and they're both identical, so we will pop those to one side. You also get the Glock with the extended mag. Once again, paint applications here, I'm not sure if there have been any. It looks like they have actually on closer inspection. It doesn't look like they've just gone for the original plastic look. It looks like there's been a black coating of paint on there with a little bit of dry brushing to give it some detail, but relatively simplistic. It does have a cocking action, this gun, but it's quite minor. You can spot it there, and it has a tendency not to cover the entire barrel there. So yeah, perhaps not the best sculpt in the world, but it's got that little sight on the top there, and it's got the extended mag, and once again, like the MP5, if you pop that out, you've got painted and sculpted bullets in there. So yeah, that's the Glock with the extended mag, pretty decent. Pop that to one side. Sunglasses, Morpheus's eponymous sunglasses. Just really nicely done these. Now these are actually in metal because these are magnetic, allegedly. I've had this figure from new, and they've never really worked that well. But the good news is about these is because they are metal, they're not going to break as easily as a lot of the plastic 6 scale glasses that we see. However, they are still quite fragile, so I would say handle with caution. But yeah, they attach magnetically to the face, and we'll see how that does or doesn't work when we bring the figure out. So yeah, there are his glasses. You also get his sword, the katana. Quite nicely done this. The sheath itself is plastic. We'll take a look at that first. Just one piece of sculpted plastic. Doesn't even look like there's much paint application on there, just black plastic. But you do have these sort of pleather bindings going on. These aren't sculpted in. You've got this sort of string effect at the end here, which is wrapped and tied around the sheath itself. And then you've got these, excuse me, you've got these brown pleather straps as well. As I say, not sculpted in. So nice to see that they've added those on top of the sheath itself. The sword, great to see here from Toys Works, is actually die cast. The blade itself is fully die cast, nice and shiny. It's got a bit of heft to it because it's metal. The hilt is sculpted plastic with paint applications to give it that cord bound look. Just white, relatively simple black and white paint applications there. So yeah, overall nice to see Toys Works using metal. As I say, had a complaint about this, I would say a bit loose in the sheath, in the scabbard. So we'll pop it back in, and yeah, it has a tendency to rattle around, and as you can see, it will just simply fall out. There's nothing holding it in. So yeah, a little bit loose there, but overall the construction's pretty good and the paint applications are pretty good too. So yeah, that's the sword. We will take a look at his spare coat. Now, this figure comes with two coats. Pleather, I believe. I'm pretty certain they are pleather. The first coat, which is already on the figure, we'll take a look at that when we bring it out. Now, this coat, I believe, is from the second film, and this is where what I mentioned at the top there about this being maybe a mixture of different films. This one, I believe, is from the second film. No, sorry, the first film. I tell a lie. I think this one is from the first film because it's got these flaps at the top. The one already on the figure doesn't have those flaps, and I believe that is from the second film. Correct me in the comments section if I'm wrong. But yeah, nicely done this overcoat, even though it is in pleather. It's a very, very thick pleather. And now, as I said, I've had this figure for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. It was originally released about 4 years ago, and as you can see, there is no chipping, there's no flaking. This one's been stored away because I tend to use the other overcoat with the figure. This thing's been sat in storage and it's done really well. As I say, no chipping, no flaking at all, which is nice to see. It's got a really nice pattern on it, which is screen accurate, which is this sort of leather stroke, snakeskin stroke, whatever style pattern, but it's effective and it looks really good. It's obviously been embossed into the pleather. It's lined on the inside with man-made fibre, feels like a nylon, and the stitch work is really nice. That pattern's continued all the way through. It's got some weight to it, it feels solid and well made. The proportions are really good. Stitch work, as I said, excellent. And for a pleather coat, I think Toysworks have done really well here. I have seen some pleather coats which really, aren't going to stand the test of time. This has got a little bit creased in storage, but that gives you an idea there of how it looks on the figure. And as I said, we'll take a look at the other version of this coat when we bring Morpheus out. So yeah, let's pop that to one side. Final thing in the accessories, the display stand. Very simple display stand here from Toysworks, nothing fancy at all. It's this simple sort of plastic block that we see a lot of with third-party manufacturers. No feet on the bottom, so be careful if you're putting it into a display, it might move around. There's no nameplate on the front of here either. I think Toysworks have just opted not to bother in this situation, which actually is probably a good thing, because if they had put a nameplate on the front, it would probably have had to say spiritual leader, which then I wouldn't have used anyway. But it would have been nice to see something on there. But yeah, very basic. It's got a sticker on the top with that falling green code, the iconic code that we come to associate with Matrix. And that's pretty much it. Comes with a standard issue crotch grabber, slots into the two holes at the back there, and that's your stand. So that's all the accessories that come with your Morpheus figure. So without further ado, let's bring out the big guy himself, get him onto this stand, get him onto the turntable, and find out what he's all about. Okay folks, so here he is, it's Morpheus himself, onto the stand, onto the turntable. Obviously I can't give first impressions on this figure because I've had it for quite some time, but I still think this is a really good figure. I think Toysworks have made a solid fist of this particular piece that they've given us, but we will do as we always do. We will start at the bottom and work our way up. So let's stop him from spinning. He's in a pose, he's gripping accessories. I'm going to have to remove those, and I'm going to have to remove those glasses as well, those sunglasses, because they will not stay where they're supposed to. But we'll get to that magnetic feature. So we'll take the glasses off before they fall off. And if I can grab these with my sausage fingers, now they've fallen off. Let me just retrieve those. We'll put those to one side. We'll remove this MP5 as well, because that no doubt will fall out of his hand while we're having a wander around him. So we'll get rid of that, and we'll get rid of the sword as well. And then we'll get him off the stand and get him closer into camera for a close-up look, and that sword doesn't want to come out. So let's take it out the wrong way. Right, there we go. So that's accessories removed. Let's get him off the stand and get him closer into shot. We'll start with the feet here. Now you've got these sculpted plastic boots going on. They're nothing to write home about. They're relatively simple. There's no real laces or anything like that here. They're sculpted, very simple sculpt and design. No weathering or anything like that on there. Nothing really to report on the soles either. They're pegged directly into the body itself. I must admit, this one on the left hand side's got a little bit loose over the years, but not enough to cause any issues with posing. And there's plenty of movement going on there, forward and backward. No split cut boot design or anything like that. Moving up now, this suit, the colour, I think it's actually pretty good. I think it's pretty screen accurate. This is this sort of deep purple colour. The cut is really nice, and the fall is really nice. The stitch work, as you can see down the seams here and along the bottom of the pants, is really well done. And it stood the test of time very well, this figure. I think the suit has held up really well. It's a dark suit, so it's going to be an absolute dust and dirt magnet and hair magnet, so watch out for that. But overall, yeah, the style looks right to me, relatively straight. The proportions, let's talk about proportions on this. I think they've got the proportions just right for Laurence Fishburne here. I think they've captured it really well, and they've done that in an interesting way, shall we say. The body underneath here, now I've had a look prior to shooting this, and you can probably see here what you've got, and I'll try and get this right into shot so you can see it. What Toysworks have done here is they have taken what looks to me like a stock body, and then they have wrapped what looks like a combination of material and foam. And now this pretty much covers all the body. It covers the shin area here. There's a slight gap, obviously, for the knee joint, so you can pose the figure. Then it's continued up through the thigh area, and then into the waist section and the chest section and the shoulders as well. You can feel it under the shoulders. There's none in the arms. That's the only area here that isn't wrapped with this foam material to pad out the body. I don't have a problem with that. I think obviously this is a third-party figure and they're working to a budget here, so they are going to they're going to cut corners. They're not going to go out and make a custom body for this. So what they've done is, I believe, take the standard one and padded it all over. But it works. It doesn't impede the articulation. And talking of articulation, in those knees there, you've got a ratchet joint, which will go up to. It won't go any. It's not brilliant. Let's put it that way. You won't get that up to 45 degrees. Probably 30 there at a push, but the ratchets feel solid, and they've stood the test of time really well. You can feel that clicking, and they feel good and sturdy. The pants themselves are Velcro fastening at the top. Stitch work is really nice as well and continued. There's no jacket under here. You go straight into the vest, which is made of the same material as the pants, which I believe is a cotton material. It just feels really good quality. I have actually come across some licensed 6-scale figures with suits like this on, where the cut and finish on the suit isn't as good as this. So yeah, I think they've done a stand-up job here. Toysworks. Velcro fastening on the vest as well. You've got functioning pockets there, and these little buttons sewn in on the front. Moving up, you've got a black cotton shirt underneath with nice stitch work. That tie, straight away, it's a bit of a bugger to deal with. It wants to move around a lot. It's not been fixed in place, although it is made of that material that is that's got some rigidity to it. So it's not a case of it riding up above the vest itself. The problem is around the neck area there. You have to futz it. It will go back into place. This has dropped off for this review because I've been handling it, but as you can see, if you muck around with it, you can get it back into place, so it doesn't look incongruous. It's the colour of this tie now. I believe the tie itself in the first movie, it was a sort of yellow with green flecks in it and a green shade to it as well. So maybe Toysworks have missed a trick here with the colour of this tie. It should be less purple, more green and yellow. But the shirt itself is nicely tailored and nicely coloured, and that's continued down through the arms. I'm not going to take this coat off at this point because herein lies, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but it's a bit of a nightmare getting this coat on and off, so I don't swap them out that often, as I mentioned in the accessories section. Also forgot to mention at that point as well, when we were looking at the swap out coat, and this is the coat from the second film, I believe. It is wired. Now these wires, and it's well wired, I must admit. You've got wires that run all the way down the front here, and you've got wires in the bottom of the coat as well. So really you can get quite dynamic with this, and you can have it flying off in all directions. You can have him in action poses, or as far as the articulation will let you have him in an action pose. Talking of articulation, let's check. I don't think there's going to be, you're not going to get a vast, no, not a vast amount of movement in the waist area there, and this is going to be down to that padding underneath the figure itself. There's some movement in the chest, but not a vast amount. Once again, I am putting that down to how they have padded out the body. The arms, pretty good articulation. There's a butterfly joint at the shoulder there, ratcheted at the elbow. Hands are pegged in. Not a vast amount of movement in these arms. You'll probably get 45 degrees out of the arms. I would say if you have this figure or you're thinking of picking this figure up, once again, pleather overcoat. Don't stress it too much. As with any pleather, even though this is a tough pleather, which has stood the test of time really well, as you can see, no chipping, no cracking or flaking anywhere on it. You don't want to risk it by overstressing it. Up top there you have the lapels. Now these lapels are fastened down. I'll try and get this closer into shot. These lapels are actually stitched down, which is good to see. You don't want those flying off all over the place. No wiring in the collar area there. There is no wiring down the front section here. Just need to make that quite clear as well. It runs the full length of the hem of the bottom of the coat, but not up these sections here, but still gives you a lot of options for posing within the limitations of the body. And it's got that nylon interior, and the stitch work once again matches the stitch work of the other jacket that we looked at, the other overcoat in the accessories section. So let's take a look at this head sculpt, man, and get as close in as I can here. Now I think, and as I say, I had this figure a while, I still think this is a cracking Laurence Fishburne head sculpt that they've given us here. I really do. Is it up to something like, you know, Hot Toy standards? No, but for a 4-year-old third-party attempt at Laurence Fishburne, I think they've made a real fist of it, Toys Works here. Now I know there's been a number of other companies have had a go, because I don't think I don't know whether it's down to Mr. Fishburne not wanting to give out his license for figures, or although we did get one from Hot Toys, I believe, which was from Predators. Correct me in the comment section if I'm getting that wrong. Was that a third party? Very rarely see Mr. Fishburne in 6-scale form. I know Fishbone's had a go at this, and Present Toys have had a go at this. Never had either of those in hand, so I can't comment on how this compares to those. But I think this version is pretty good. The sculpt looks on point. It's unmistakably Larry Fishburne, and they've cut that mouth really, really well. The proportions of the face are right. The way that top lip turns up ever so slightly. The skin tone in the sculpt is very good, as are the paint applications. Without wanting to sound derogatory to Mr. Fishburne, there's some sort of, I would say pock marks, that's wrong, but the open pores on the skin there in the cheek area and down towards the chin, which are really, really nicely done. The imperfections are picked out really, really well without being overemphasized. The shading in the paint application, really nice. The eyes are nice and glassy and the right colour. Eyebrows are well painted. The head has got a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow going on. Don't want to drop this out of shot, so bear with me. So yeah, overall, I think they've done a pretty good job. Is it 100% Laurence Fishburne? No. There are certain angles there where it can look ever so slightly off. I think when you add the, and I shall grab the sunglasses at this point, which I've popped to one side, it does work better with sunglasses on. Now, as I mentioned in the accessories section, as you saw when I took these things off, this magnet system that Toys Works have given us doesn't work brilliantly. In fact, it's virtually non-existent as far as I can tell. What I have to do is pretty much balance these glasses on the face and cross my fingers and hope for the best. But when you've got them on there and they are staying in place, I think it does improve the head sculpt. And I think to me that's always a sign that the eyes are out a little bit on a head sculpt when it's improved with dark glasses. So, but I think with those glasses on, it becomes even more impressive. It's a fixed neck head sculpt. There are no swap out head sculpts with this one. There's a decent range of motion in there. Not a vast amount forward and backward, but you've got some lateral going on there. You can pretty much do a complete 360 if you're wanting to with that head sculpt. But overall, I think, as I say, I think not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but most certainly Toys Works have done very, very well for a third party here. So let's put him his glasses back on and pray that they stay on, stick him back on the turntable and going for final thoughts and a score on this guy, if they will stay on, and it looks like they might do. Let's pop him back on there, get him spinning again and get him back in shot. So final thoughts on this old but gold piece. Has it stood the test of time? Absolutely, yeah. I think there are some third-party figures being produced today which aren't of the same standard as this. On the plus side, so what's it got going for? I think that head sculpt is very good, if not not perfect, but very, very good. I think I'm really impressed with the pleather that Toysworks have used here, because I would be expecting at this point for this whole thing to be just a pile of dust in the corner, but that stood up really well. I think the outfit overall, the stitch work, the colouring, the fit on the pants. I'm really pleased that that Toysworks actually went for padding out the entire body. I would rather have seen that than them just give us a body that's out of proportion. Present Toys, pay attention. Overall, yeah, I think they've done a cracking job. The accessories are good. The base, I can live without, but it serves its purpose. Downsides. I'm trying to think of any, and I'm struggling to find any. Yeah, I mean, the sword doesn't fit into the sheath 100%. Some of the paint applications on the accessories aren't brilliant. The coat could possibly have done with being leather, and it's a little bit of a pain in the proverbials swapping out the coats. I'm struggling, and the articulation, yeah, that's always going to be problematic when you pad at the body though. Criticisms are difficult really on this one. I think taking into account the price point and the age, I think it's a cracking piece, and I really like it. I think what we should do at this point actually as well is bring in Neo, the Hot Toys Neo, and take a look at how these two square off against each other. Okay folks, so it's Morpheus and Neo together. How do they square off against each other? Well, pretty good, I have to say. I think they display really well together. Height-wise, now I know Laurence Fishburne is 5'9", Keanu Reeves is 6'1". We've got to remember here that I've got him in a slightly knees bent pose here, and he's got probably the equivalent of about an inch on these heels on these boots that he wore in the movie. So I would say the proportions are pretty much on point. So yeah, they display really well together. I've had all three in the display with the Trinity as well, and they all match up pretty much on point. So a final score on this guy. We've had the pluses, we've had the minuses. I'm going to give this Toysworks Morpheus a solid 8, 7.58. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. There are some downsides to it. It's a third party at the end of the day, but at the price point, I think it's a really good take on Laurence Fishburne's Morpheus from the Matrix movies, and I think displays really well. I'm glad to have it in the collection. I had it in the collection a long time, and as part of my Matrix display, I think it just works really well. And yeah, a big thumbs up to Toysworks there. My one and only Toysworks piece. So there you have it, folks. That's Toysworks' take on Morpheus from the Matrix movies. What are your thoughts on this piece? Do you have it in your collection? Is it something you're thinking of picking up? Do you have a Present Toys version or the Fishbones version? I will be fascinated to hear your take on this particular figure, on the movie, or anything at all. There's nothing's off menu, so please drop a comment in the comment section below. And I suppose all it remains for me to say, oh, what's coming up on the channel? Nearly forgot to mention, we have a boatload of stuff coming up. We have new reviews, retro reviews. We've got more episodes of Don't Make Me Choose, more episodes of Grail or Fail. In the new figure department, we have got stuff from Hot Toys, from In Art, from Pure Arts, from Susu Toys, Caustic Plastic, Present Toys, Mars Toys. The list goes on. So as I said at the top there, be sure to mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the content that's coming up, and trust me, there's a lot of it. So let's wrap this whole thing up. I shall say goodbye from myself, goodbye from Neo, goodbye from Morpheus. Take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.